LinkedIn is a gold mine for getting high ticket clients, but only if you know how to use it the right way. And in today's video, I'm gonna show you the exact strategies on how to use LinkedIn to get clients in 2023 and beyond. And I've been using LinkedIn for over 8 years and people refer to me as the LinkedIn king. So I'm gonna show you the secret sauce and exactly what you need to do to get clients. I'm gonna show you everything A to Z, from optimizing your profile and doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing so you can stand out from the crowd. I'm gonna show you how to do targeting and how to get in front of your ideal prospects and get in front of the right people that you need to get in front of to start generating appointments. I'm gonna show you messaging sequence, how to manage your pipeline, and much, much more. So whether you're an agency owner, consultant, or you sell B2B, this would be the most valuable videos you watch this year for acquiring clients on LinkedIn. So let's dive in. The very first thing we must do if you want to start getting clients off of LinkedIn and start scaling up your business is we must optimize your LinkedIn profile. Now, this is going to sound very contradictory from everything else you're going to hear out there online when it comes to optimizing your LinkedIn profile, and it's because it's doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing. And so you can see here my LinkedIn profile, it doesn't showcase what I do, anything like that on first glance. What you want to do with a LinkedIn profile, and if you really want to get a lot of connections, is you must optimize it towards what I call flying under the radar. And so what you want to do is you don't want to make it look salesy, or you don't want to look at it as soon as someone accepts your connection request that they think you're just going to pitch them. And that's what majority of people's profiles look like, is that someone won't connect with you if they feel you're just going to then pitch them and then they're not going to connect. And so what you want to do is you want to have a really high quality headshot photo, more so casual. I used to recommend, and what people will tell you out there, is use a really high quality headshot, wear a suit, be very professional because it's LinkedIn. But I'll tell you this, people are actually more inclined to actually connect with you and ultimately do business with you if you're more casual. You're not this like shark gonna go and sell them. And then also a nice high quality background photo of a skyline of the city you live in. Now, I highly recommend you do this because, again, it shows that it's professional, it looks very clean, and also it doesn't have this salesy written all over it like I'm just gonna pitch you. Now, here's another LinkedIn profile of one of my team members, and you can see here, this is with the traditional approach with a background that's kind of branded. It's not really too pitchy, but it's a branded banner, and then you have a high quality photo but with a suit on. Now, it also shows that you're helping high online and high ticket service businesses scale up to 1 to 5 million plus per year, and it just looks a little bit more salesy. Now, about 4 or 5 years ago, this would work really well because not many people are doing this. It instantly shows your credibility, shows the prospect exactly what you do. Now, when people see this, like I help or helping or I work with, what happens is the prospect immediately says, okay, this guy's gonna pitch me, and then boom, they don't connect. And so what you'll see is you're gonna get a lot of these profile views. And then if your profile views and your connections are very small, and you'll be able to see your connect rate and you'll be able to calculate that through other means. But if you're getting a low connect rate but a lot of profile views, that means that your profile is too salesy and nobody's going to connect with you, or you have the wrong targeting. And so what we're finding really effective right now is by still having this professional profile, but just saying like you're a founder and CEO at like your agency or your marketing or consulting company, whatever it is that you do, and then just keeping it very high level and a nice high quality profile photo, but casual in like a polo or a button down, whatever, and then a nice high quality background. Now, what you will also want to do throughout your profile is once they scroll down, this is where you can anchor a lot of the actual credibility and some other assets and testimonials, etc. through here as well. So you can see here, I linked one of our, what I call a pre-selling mechanism, which is a VSL funnel. So when somebody goes here, they can click and then they can go and opt in, right? They can go view it, they can go opt in. They also linked them to my YouTube channel. That's also depth of putting out additional content. And then I have a bunch of testimonials here of how we help someone generate $1 million on LinkedIn, generate 120 to 200 sales appointments, etc. And I'm linking a ton of case studies here, which again also anchors more credibility and ultimately solidifies my expertise in the market. Then what you want to do is in your about section is you want to use sales copy. So for here, this is where you can start going and calling out your niche. So I call out marketing agencies and consultants, and I say, just imagine watching your calendar fill up with appointments, hiring a sales team, revenue skyrocket, more and more cash accumulating in your business account, turning down clients because your product and service is in high demand, right? Then I anchor some credibility over working with over 700 clients. And then I go into problem one. Here's what the problem is causing them. So I agitate it. So it's like problem, right? Agitate, and then we show them the solution. So you can use a simple copywriting, which is called PAS, P-A-S, and you can do problem, agitate, solution, and then give them a call to action, which would either directly drive them to your calendar or to a DM or to your landing page to opt into your funnel, okay? Then what you want to do here in the experience section is you want to explain what you do, how you do it, what makes you different, and then give them a call to action, again, driving them to your funnel. And then you can also link case studies in here as well. And you want to have your company page linked here as well. And if you don't have a company page, you can just go to work. You can go to create a company page and you can add a company page, and you want to have the logo here. So you have the logo and name of your company. So when someone comes to your profile, it looks professional. So that's what I'd recommend on the profile front. Now, the second thing we're going to utilize is Sales Navigator. Now, if you're not familiar with Sales Navigator, which it's an incredible tool because we can search LinkedIn's entire database. Now, I look at LinkedIn as a big data source, meaning LinkedIn is a source of 850 million people on there. And what we can do is we can tap into decision makers, business owners, CEOs, whoever our ideal client is, and we can pinpoint target exactly who we want to get in front of. Now, there's a few ways that we can utilize Sales Navigator. Now, I have additional tutorials on this on other videos on my channel, so you can check that out and subscribe to the channel because I drop videos like this every single week. But I'll show you some little key hacks and some things that we found to get really, really high quality leads and ultimately searches, so we can ultimately get in front of the right people and then convert them into calls. So one of the filters that we like to use now, traditionally, we like to use the keywords. Those are one that we utilize all the time. But a little hack that we found that you can use is if you go to current company, you can use keywords in here, and then anytime that your prospect has that keyword in their actual business's name, then you can target those prospects as well. So I'll give you an example. Let's say we want to target accountants. Well, you can type in accounting, right? And you can see here that it'll pull up a bunch of accounting and tax services. So you can see here, Sound Accounting CPA, right? Accounting systems and services, right? So universal accounting. And then what we can do here is we can filter it by, let's just say we want to target Florida, right? And then we want to go and we can target maybe company headcount. Maybe we want a little bit higher, not just like a one-man band, but maybe we want like 1 to 10 employees, right? Little small firm. And then we can target them. And so when you have it in the here, you can also exclude any that you don't want. But you can see here, all these are accountants now because I'm utilizing the actual company in the accounting, the keyword in the company name. And so this works a lot with a lot of niches, right? Where you can type in like consultant or agency, whatever the case may be, or tax services, financial services. You can add that in the current company as a keyword and pull them in. Now, what you can also do is you can use these keywords to refine it even more. You can type in like CPA, for example. And if I just want CPAs, I can additionally filter it from there and just target CPAs. And now you can see here it went down to 424. Now, what I like to do is get around between 500 to 2,500 prospects per quote unquote campaign. That's what I recommend. But for example, in this example, I'll take this off. And then what we want to do is if we want to go into here, we can type in CEO, owner. And then what you also want to do is, I'm pretty familiar with this, but you want to figure out what they call themselves. So a lot of them call themselves like principals, right? So you can see here, they're going to pull up a lot more search results because I've typed in principal. A lot of them call themselves founders. And you can just type in and you want to figure out what they call themselves and specifically for your niche, right? Now, I'm giving you this example, but you do not want to target these traditional niches on LinkedIn as well. If you're targeting accountants, doctors, lawyers, all that stuff, it's not going to work as well. What you do want to do is you want to go into what I call sub niches, which is actually a subset of the niche itself. So in overall, these accountants, maybe CPAs is like quote unquote a sub niche of that, right? And you can target them. Or tax advisor, that could be another like sub niche off of that. For when I was targeting financial advisors, I was specifically targeting registered investment advisors, which are RIAs, which are a segment, which is a sub niche of the overall financial advisory space. And those guys are the exact clients that I wanted to target. And so this is essentially how you can use it. When you do this, what you want to do is you want to scroll through the first few pages. And you can see here, all these are accountants, exactly who I'm looking for, right? And and specifically in Florida, and their founders within my criteria. And there's 620 of them. And so what you can do here is you can also save the search. So at the bottom here, it says save search. So then if you wanted to come back to it, you can save the search. You can just do like accountants and then Florida 1 to 10, whatever the case you want to do. And you can even date it and then save it. And then you can access this at any time from your saved searches inside of Sales Navigator. So you can go here, you can see the accountants, you can go and pull it up at any time, and then you can add additional filters to this as well. Now, a little key hack is once you get a good campaign, I'm gonna show you the messaging in a minute, but once you get a good campaign, what you can do is instead of just going and create an entirely new search, what I can do is if this is working really well, I can literally just take off the geography and I can change it to like North Carolina, for example, right? And I can add North Carolina as that targeting, but I have everything else the same, and I'm just changing the one variable, which is the geography. And that in and of itself is a sub niche of that as well. But that's just an example what you can do to add and get the same juice out of the same search by just segmenting it through geography. Another search function you can use are groups. So what you want to do is you can type in here accounting, and you can type in accounting groups, accounting professionals, right? Again, whatever your niche is, you're going to start typing in different keywords here. Now you can also go into LinkedIn and you can search up here. You can type in accounting, for example. So you can type in at the top accounting, and then you click on groups, and then you can see all the groups, and you can see how big these groups are. There's 158,000 people in there, accounting and audit. There's another one, financial control, finance accounting, right? There's 143,000 people, finance club, 2 million. So what you can do is you can go and join some of these groups, and you can see here I'm already a part of some of these groups. And then once you're in the groups, you can target them, and you can even message members without having to connect with them. Now, it does go to the other tab in your inbox, which is a message request tab, but you'll be able to get more outreach in because you're already part of the same groups, right? And so that's another way, and I'm gonna show you how to fully automate that. If you do wanna automate, you can either do the manual outreach or automation, but I highly recommend you use groups, and then you can come in here and you can target them. You can see here there's 280,000 people from here, and then again, we can layer on additional keywords. Now, when you're doing your LinkedIn searches, you also wanna use Boolean searches, so you can use CPA and then you can type in accountant, right? And you can type in these searches. Now, LinkedIn has a whole guide here on how to use Boolean searches, when to use them, how not to use them. I highly recommend you look this up. You can literally just use using Boolean searches on LinkedIn and to source your list. So that's what I'd recommend there. And then you can see we segmented this campaign down. And again, we can add maybe Florida again as geography, and boom, there's 4.5 thousand. And again, on top of that, you can even type in accounting or tax, and you can pull up these people, right? So if you didn't want to do that, you can target 4,500 people here, and you can go and segment them. Now, there's two ways that we can go from here. We can either then automate this process of sending out connection requests, which we use a few automation tools personally inside of our company, or you can do it manually by just going through, and you can go and connect with them, send them a connection request, send an invitation, and then connect with them, and then go through the messaging process that way. Or you can automate it. Now, if you want to automate it, LinkedIn, they have a limit of about 100 per week that you can do. Now, with our automation tool, we can actually get between 300 to 700 connection requests actually per week, and doing a lot more outreach. So we can about 3 to 7x the actual outreach on LinkedIn from one profile, utilizing the tools that we use personally. Now, let's talk about LinkedIn messaging. So once you get the prospects, now what do you say to them? Well, I'll tell you this, with LinkedIn messaging, the name of the game is conversations. Now, the more conversations equal the more appointments and the more clients you'll get. Now, what we found to be really effective, and especially in today's market with everybody just pitching everybody, is to first engage with your prospect with no apparent agenda, and then progressively get more direct with your value and your offer and your value proposition, and then give them a call to action to get on a quick 10-minute chat or a quick connect call. Now, the call to action needs to be very low commitment, easy to say yes to. You don't want to say, let's get on a 45-minute Zoom call. Just say a quick 10-minute chat, and a lot more people will want to get on there. Now, again, we used a hybrid engagement direct approach. Now, first, what we want to do is we want to use the engagement approach to start the conversation. Then what we want to do is we want to follow up if they do not reply with more direct value proposition and a direct offer and a call to action. Now, we want to have about 5 to 8 total messages in the sequence to basically space it out between 3 to 7 days apart each, and then go through that process. Now, I'm not going to go through this entire process, but here's a cadence that works really well for us. So the cadence is we can start it off with no connection message at all. Now, I know everybody here on YouTube and wherever, they're going to tell you, you must send an invitation. And I would have said that a few years ago. But right now, what's working well for us is no connection message at all. Now, granted, you have a really good high quality profile. People are going to want to connect with you again, especially if you're flying under the radar, as I call it. You can use no connection message at all, and you can still get around 30 to 50% connect rates. Or you can also test something like this. You can say, hey, first name, I see we're both in the accounting space. I'm always looking to connect with other accountants. If you're open to that, let's connect. Or live with other professionals, whatever the case may be. This one works pretty much every single time. You're showing some mutual connection. You're showing that you're connected with other people that they know, and you're always looking to connect with other people like them. If you're open to it, let's connect. This one works really good. So you can use that if you don't want to just use no connect. Now, we refer to this as a welcome message. So 24 hours, if they don't reply, we want to use the engage approach. Now, what you want to do is we want to simply get them to respond. So you can say, hey, John, I see we're both in the niche, right? It's accounting space. How's it going? Just literally say that. Just literally get them to say, how's it going? Or how's your new year so far? If it's at the beginning of the year, whatever the case would be, just literally start the conversation. Now, if you're targeting group members, you can say, here, I see we're both a part of the same groups or accounting groups here on LinkedIn. How's it going, right? Now, message number one. So this is if they don't reply, respond back, reach out about 3 to 5 days later if they don't reply. And you can use the engage approach to show interest and then ask open-ended questions. The key thing here is ask open-ended questions. If you don't ask open-ended questions, you're not going to get responses and you're not going to get booked appointments, okay? So here you can say something like, I saw in your profile that you're an accountant. Are you currently running your own practice or firm, whatever? Or what is it that you currently got going on, right? Or you can say, hey, John, I noticed that you run your own firm. How long have you been doing that for, right? Or I noticed on your profile that you're in a niche. I'm curious, what do you specialize in, right? So you can use one of those, and again, you can mix it up and test it, but this is what has been proven for us. Now, another message is you can go to the direct. So after like 3 messages, so we have the welcome message after they connect, and then this is going to be our third message, but it says message 2, but it's our third message. What we're going to do is we're going to go direct with their offer and value proposition. Now, a proven framework that has worked consistently for me over years and years and years is you can say something like this. Just to give you some context, I specifically work with accountants who are, struggling to get high ticket clients or whatever the case may be, and I help them to solve their problem of generating consistent leads with business owners and ultimately grow their practice or their firm to 6 figures through my accounting scaling method or whatever the case would be. Now, I'm curious, suppose I could help you generate more leads and get more business owners as clients. That's not something you'd be open to learning more about, would it, John? Or you can phrase it however you want, but that's what you can do there. Or what you can do is you can go very direct with your offer, and you can say something like, hey, John, I specifically work with accountants where I'll help you generate qualified leads and help you scale your accounting firm to multiple 6 figures within 6 months and guarantee that you'll generate these leads or your money back. You could say something like that, right? Now let's jump on a quick 10-minute chat and I'll walk you through how our system or process works and everything. How does this week or next look for you? So that's a very direct offer with a call to action. Now you can test these, but what I found is that going with more of a engagement approach where you're asking them, would that be something you'd be open to learning more about? And then they say, yes, tell me more. Then you can go for the call to action, okay? Now the follow-ups, what you wanna do is you just wanna signal certainty and you wanna show them that you've been able to and demonstrate that you've been able to get results for people like them in the past. So you can go into here, like, I'm positive I can help you generate more leads and scale your business, whatever the case would be. I specifically work with accountants to solve a problem. We're gonna reiterate our value proposition, and then we're gonna ask them for a quick 10-minute chat. Or what we can do is we can go direct with testimonials. So either or, and we can say, I helped one of our clients go from here, state 1 to state 2. Now this is if you have testimonials in time frame. Another one of my clients, John, went from state 1, about 120K a year to 675K a year in 6 months. Let's jump on a call and I'll walk you through how this works. And then what you can do is you can just follow up and have additional sequences as well. So that's the messaging sequence there. And again, it's going to be all determined from your niche and what their problem is. So one of the exercises that you want to do is you want to figure out, obviously define your niche. What's the transformation? What's their biggest, most urgent problem they're facing now? What's the mass desire? And does this niche have their own language? Because you can weave that into the messaging. So that's what you want to do there, to weave into the messaging. And that's what I found to work really, really effective for actually messaging prospects, getting responses, and ultimately converting them. Now you can do this either 2 ways. You can either manually do it, like I showed you here, just going through, connecting with them, right? Manually messaging them, or you can leverage automation. Now, we personally use LinkedIn automation. There's a ton of LinkedIn automation tools out here. The reason why we use this one is we can get between 300 to 700 per week per profile in connection requests, and ultimately, get the data and feed it into our CRM. But you can see here, it automatically sends out the messaging sequence. And then once they respond, we actually message them from inside of here instead of LinkedIn, so we can manage all of your prospects and we can change the statuses of them and really just keep our finger on the pulse of our pipeline. And then we also get their email and their phone number and their website, whatever else they have. And then we can then feed that into our CRM, in which we use this CRM called Apex, which if you want a free trial of this, I'm gonna link a free trial below that fully automates the entire process of following up, managing your pipeline, and ultimately being able to scale the outreach. So what we do is we automate the process on LinkedIn, and then we feed it into our CRM, which is Apex. And then what we can do here is we can see all the leads that we connected with, people that replied, and then we can move them across to interested and triage. And ultimately, depending on where they're at, we can then ultimately book them into discovery calls or triage calls in our calendar. And so once a prospect comes in, we also have automation sequences that automatically follow up with them via text and email that ultimately be able to get them to book on a call. So the key with LinkedIn as well is you don't want to just rely on just the LinkedIn process. You also want to use a multi-channel approach where you're following up with them on multiple channels. So if they don't respond on LinkedIn, you're hitting them on email and you're texting them, and you can even call them, right? And so when you do that, you're not just relying on that one channel, and you have multiple channels that you can use to get in front of them to ultimately convert them into a book call and ultimately a paying client. Now, when someone comes into our LinkedIn pipeline after 14 days, if they don't respond, then with our LinkedIn messaging, so we have a whole sequence that goes out on here, right? Like I just showed you. Then what we do is we also follow up them via email. So we email them, we wait a day, we text them, right? We wait 2 days, then we email them, wait 3 days, then we email them again. And we have a whole sequence that follows up with them. And this gets a ton of responses with people that we've already connected with on LinkedIn to convert them into book calls. And then what we can do inside of here, we can go to the individual prospect and we can email them, we can text them, we can even call them, right? So we can call them from directly into the system and then boom, immediately hit them up and then convert them into a call. And if they're qualified, we can immediately book them right into the calendar right here. So we can go and we can immediately book them in if they're a good fit while we're on the phone with them, book them into a call, and then it's gonna get fed into the system and it's gonna trigger automations to follow up with them via email and text to make sure they show up for the call. So this is everything in one place that you can utilize to ultimately scale and optimize your outreach, because in today's day and age, it's not enough to just use one channel. You must have a multi-channel approach and leverage automation to then feed your pipeline. And then what we do is we have these custom lists where if they connected with us on LinkedIn, but they didn't reply, we have a whole list of prospects here. And we also have additional lists where they replied, but they didn't book into a disco. They had a disco, but they didn't show up, right? So we have these custom lists to easily manage our pipeline. And then what we can do is we can go into this individual prospect, and then every single day we can just go through these leads and we can just prospect one by one and then automate this process as well of following up with them. So if we wanted to call them, we can just go through each lead and we can just go easily prospect to them. We can also select all of them. We can add them to an email or a text campaign, right? We can send them to an email sequence, and we can literally do so much with this process so that ultimately get more out of what we've already done on LinkedIn. Now, if you want a deeper dive demo and you also want to get a 14-day free trial of this Apex system so you can manage your pipeline, get more leads with LinkedIn, and ultimately convert them more into high-ticket clients, then I dropped the link below in the description where you can get a free 14-day free trial and you can try it out for yourself, and you can start feeding your LinkedIn leads into the system to ultimately maximize and get more out of it. Now, if you want additional volume on top of this, then you can also leverage in-mail and group campaigns. So with this automation tool, we can also automate in-mail and groups to then ultimately feed them into your pipeline, and then we can feed them into Apex so that you can ultimately get more out of those prospects as well. And you can see here, just in the last week, we got 571 connection requests sent out, and we're averaging about 30 to 50 new connections added every single day. And then we're converting those into actual prospects and then getting them onto the phone and signing them up as clients. So hopefully you found massive value in this video. Again, if you want a free 14-day trial of Apex, you can go below this video, and also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. And I'll also link this video here if you want to go deeper dive into leveraging LinkedIn and how you can actually leverage the system to convert them into high quality clients and ultimately scale your business. So I'll link this video here so you can watch this video next, and I'll see you there next.